Friends, today is the day. I have decided to mess with an HHA. Never touched one in my life. Want to bring you along. I'm already planning on using a UV3, the smaller housing, and attaching it to this Sight. I want to take you guys through that today, test it, tinker with it, and show you all the highlights. I don't know, maybe you guys, this could be the potential best Sight out there for target, which is crazy because we've already tested so many. Let's go ahead and show you guys the breakdown on this. I'm going to walk you through how I attached this, and then we're going to shoot a few arrows. We'll also show you how to dope in the sight tape, breaking it down. ABT, this is the ElkShape channel. Here we go. Hey guys, Dan here with ElkShape. We are doing the ultimate sight review in 2023. We're trying to pour through all the top end sights. Today we're gonna break down HHA a little bit. I've actually never touched an HHA, so I'm super stoked. It's the HHA TETRA Tournament. I ordered a 4-pin and we're gonna break down, and I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna throw it on this bow today and kind of go over all the details. Okay. Here's the 4-pin. What we did, we got the infinite adjustment here. You got this housing size. I ordered 10 thou. What makes theirs different than others is that it can actually, the depth of the housing is pretty amazing. But the size of the pins, you can order 19 thous or whatever. The 4 pins are curved on the actual pin attachment. So it really doesn't take up a lot of your sight picture. I like that. The other thing I noticed is that you can kind of loosen this and you can expose more daylight to your fibers. So maybe it's kind of low light, or it's midday, super bright. You just tighten that up. Pretty ingenious. The pins are buried at the back here, so it is kind of like a scope effect. It's a very good sight picture. Oversized bubble, so you can just stare at what you're trying to hit, and in your periphery, you can see that bubble, make sure you're level. I went ahead, I got a UV3, the small one, 2-pin, and I went ahead and put it on. I ordered the UV attachment. Basically, is this part right here. You order that separate. And what that does allows you to tie into your Ultraview. So we're gonna be rocking this Ultraview on this 33 phase 4. It's kind of like a target bow for me. Looking at it just from initial, haven't used it yet. You can tighten this sight tape dial, or you can loosen your dial. And I have a magnet right here that shows exactly the tick I'm on. I love that. I think that should be like par for the course on any slider. And then the other thing is it comes with an extra one. So I could literally, with an Allen, pop this off and put a sight tape on there for a different setup. Maybe I got lighter arrows for a 3D or TAC. Maybe I got a hunting setup. I can just unscrew that and pop that on. That's pretty handy. It comes standard with some other attachments, including another sight indicator on there. If you want to take this bubble magnifier out, you can just put a brass needle in there and go old school. Let's see how it fits in the bridge lock. This is the dovetail. This is a 4-inch. You can get longer. There's 2 options there. Also, you have 2 attachments here for your quiver if you want to run a quiver attached to the dovetail, but we're bridge locked, so we're not going to worry about that. That's a great fit. Now, I generally like to run everything compressed as super close to the riser as possible, so it'll be something like that. These 2 screws right here on the infinite, you'll just crack both those and make sure that your second axis is dope. We'll show you. And then the third axis, this is your basically your set screw, and this is teeny tiny driver right here. We'll put a Hamskea on and rough it in just so you guys can see. But we'll also shoot it in with the sight tape. You got the sight tape on there to shoot in, and it's 0 out to 145. That's not yards, so you're gonna dial in 20 yards at 0, and then you're gonna walk back to 60, and you're gonna move your sight until you have 60, and you look at the corresponding number. That's your sight tape. Speaking of their sight tapes, they are only out to 100, boo, but they are waterproof, and that is nice to be able to put that on and know that you can hunt with it. Let's get to tinkering. So here's our housing. I do like how they contour in for a nice, clean, clear sight picture in the oversized bubble. This adjustment here is pretty handy. If you want to adjust the windage, you're gonna loosen this guy, and you can do macro adjustment or micro. Conversely, over here, this is that UV attachment that I bought. I like it. So if you want to loosen this guy, you can do your major adjustments which you're gonna need if you're gonna run it through the Matthews bridge lock. And then also once you have your majors, you can do your minor adjustments here as well. Set it and forget it. Then you're gonna get your guy and you're gonna set it up like so. You're gonna have these two guys, see how that's loose? That's what all you need to get it into the rail. And you can see you got a little line right here to match up once you figure out where you need to be. So we'll just snug that down for now. Third axis adjustment set screw, that's your driver. Second axis adjustment is these two guys right here. We'll do that. So if you have as an additional sight tape that you want to put on here, you're going to loosen this screw and you can pop this tape off and put your other tape on. It will come with that. The nice thing is if we don't have enough windage, we can adjust this to whatever we need. I can tell this is gonna be cutting it close, so we're gonna need to move this bracket over. Okay, so I just basically flipped this bracket completely around. Should buy us some more windage. Oh, we should build this. Yeah, that's gonna buy us more windage. So let me get that quickly screwed in here without blocking your guys' view. Throw this in the vise, double check second axis. Once you've cracked these two screws here, you're just gonna manipulate that bubble to match up. So I got a level on the Hamskea Gen Pro 2 with my string level. Those are level. Adjust this second axis. Now we're level. We'll just set those down. So there, the bubble is level. So we're just using a Hamskea Gen 2 level here. The second thing we would do now would check third axis, and this is just to rough it in. So we'll go ahead and slap an arrow on and do that. Do this with an arrow in it, guys. I'm just gonna use a door jamb. You can use a plumb bob. God, that's pretty freaking close. If I had to make an adjustment, I'm just gonna show you guys, you're gonna crack that. That's your set screw, it's a big set screw. And the teeny tiny guy right here is what's gonna manipulate this sight, and you're gonna move it in or out for your third axis, which is really important. And the more that people do, Total Archery Challenge, they're gonna realize how critical that is. If your third axis is off, you're talking a difference of a 5 versus a 10. And really anything past 30, 40 yards, it'll really show up. So next thing we're gonna do is do the sight in with this. So we're gonna bring this all the way up to 0. And we're gonna go get this dialed in at 20 at 0. And then we will go down until we hit 60 bullseye. And whatever number that is your sight tape. I would probably say move it down a smidge. 5 clicks to the left. But take your time, guys, on this deal. 20 is so important. I never used to know 20 was that important until we did that little 5 round of Vegas, and I was like, oh, really matters exactly. I like it when sights make right, moves it right, left moves it left. I mean, Spot Hog does the opposite. If you guys know what I'm talking about, drives me knuckin' futs. I think we're dialed. I like that magnifying. Some people don't like a sight tape on this side, and I completely get it. Is your dialed sight on this side?
Nope, it's on the other side.
I do like having it here because you can just, the animals right there, you can see. Otherwise now I gotta go here. It's just a little bit more movement. It's not a huge deal. The biggest thing I like about this thing is being able to take this out and put a different barrel on with a different sight tape, which is awesome, which I would do. I would have a TAC one and then maybe like an antelope or a whitetail one. But anyways, I'm gonna go down to tick mark 50. Let's see where it hits. It's a little hot. Still a little hot. Number 47. Bingo. That's 11 ring. It's gotta be about there. I marked for 48 was the sight tape. We're gonna make sure we're back on at 0. Lock it in place. Take this guy out so we can be exact. Okay, we're loose. And then there's some blank ones in there. And this thing's got a lifetime warranty, which is pretty dope. 48. There's our 48. We're gonna peel 48 off. And I'm gonna go right over the top. Put it back on. We're locked in. We're gonna loosen it now. There's 60. And we'll go out there and we'll shoot all the sight yardages to verify. So this is from Marsupial. They just came out with their soft bow case. I think it's pretty slick. Honestly, Got a little spot here to hold your little stabilizers. I got my arrow and quiver right here. So we got the one piece from Matthews, some extra arrows. These are my light arrows. These are the Elite Extreme Velocities from Victory. Engage leg limbs. And then what do I have in here? No snacks? Oh, I got more, some Allens, backup release. It's just nice when you're going back and forth to like the archery range or what have you. I haven't put anything in here. Marsupial, man, they make really good stuff, and they make it in Arizona, like as in made in America, as in like America. We're gonna go ahead and shoot a few. We put that sight tape on yesterday, so I'd like to test it a little bit longer distance. When you get a sight tape, date it for a couple weeks before you marry it, because you might be off a little bit, and it doesn't usually show up till a couple of shooting sessions. Also, man, some shooting sessions, I'll end up having to adjust my windage on my sight like 3 clicks to the right. Then the next day, I shouldn't have made those adjustments. So you kind of have to adjust for day to day a little bit, and that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. So we'll slip that on. Got my release, throw these in, and let's shoot a few arrows. Almost with all Matthews, put very little weight up front and usually put a lot more weight in the back. If I was getting real nerdy, I'd probably kick out a longer bar, like the 12-inch with 1 ounce, and I could end up with 5 to 8 of these. The cool thing about this bridge lock is that these are infinite. You could just keep putting them on. There's no limit, which is kind of cool design. Because this bow is so light, it probably does need more weight on it. A heavier bow is a steadier bow. Let me tell you what I like about this sight, kind of as we end this video. Fits in the bridge lock like a glove, and you have different length options for the dovetail, which is super cool. If you want to do a direct mount attachment, you can, and it's got screws to put a quiver. I like the 3rd axis adjustment. Super simple. That's your set screw. This is your micro. That's kind of a fine-tuning thing that I really appreciate. You have this infinite adjustment here where I can manipulate the windage or flip it around, play Tetris at this block, and which I had to do. I enjoy that. I also like that you can loosen, micro adjust windage or macro adjust, and it's got indents, which is really nice to do and stay dialed. I like that I can take this screw out and put a different sight tape on, and it comes with an extra one. That's awesome. As far as the dialing of distances, it's very smooth, and I like that you can lock it in place. I like the magnifying piece for the Total Archery Challenge Mountain 3D stuff. That's awesome. I like that I could attach the UV with the little additional purchase of this attachment, and it fits awesome. All in all, this is great sight. I like the sight tapes are waterproof. I thought the sight end method that they use was super easy to use. So I think for the money, it's worth it. And I think it's a good competitor to the Landslide. I think either way you couldn't lose. If you're considering one or the other, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just personal preference. I do like sight tapes on the inside, and that's one thing that the Landslide has going for it. But this seems to be built maybe with less screws, less things that could go wrong. So if you're gonna crossover hunt with it, the HHA might win that battle. But all in all, great options. We still have the Canyon Pounder to go through, so be on the lookout for that. We are in the middle of testing, and we don't want to do a video until we're completely done. We appreciate your support. Tap the sub. We'll catch you on the next one.